back again to my channel. I want to say a very big thank you to all my subscribers. I really appreciate you all. From the bottom of my heart, I say may God reward you all. Amen. Yeah, if you're new to the channel, you're highly welcome. In this channel, I teach about hair growth and fashion tutorials. Please subscribe to join this amazing family, okay? And remember to turn the notification bell on so that you'll be notified anytime I upload a new video, okay? So with that being said, in today's video we are going to learn how to cut and sew an off-shoulder fitted short gown, okay? So just like you saw on the thumbnail, it's an off-shoulder fitted gown with double balloon sleeve, no half cut, okay? So if you want to see how I make the gown, please relax and watch the video to the end so that you miss out of any important information. All right, so these are the materials I'll be using. This is satin material, 1 yard of satin material for the sleeve, and then this is the African print that I'm going to be using for the gown, okay? So this is 6 yards, but I'm going to be making use of just 2 yards for the gown, okay? So without wasting much time, let's get started. So guys, we're going to start by cutting out the material to work with, okay? I'm going to cut out using the biggest part of the measurement. You are going to consider the bust, waist and hip. Any of the measurement that is the biggest, then you make use of it. So my bust is 40, waist 38, hip 43. My hip is the biggest. I folded the material into 2. Okay, so my hip is 42. I'm going to divide it by 2. 42 divided by 2 will give me 21.5. So I'm going to measure 21.5 here, and I have, this is 21.5. Then I'll be adding 8 inches allowance to that. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is to measure the length of the gown. The length of the gown, okay, to minus 4 inches like this, and then I'll take the length of the gown. So the length of the gown is 42. So this is 42. And I'm going to add 2 inches allowance, making it 44. Then I mark. Okay. So I'm going to cut it out now. So this is what we need for the gown, okay? So after cutting out, this is what I have. If I measure it, it's not up to 2 yards. So if you want to manage your material, this is how you go about it. Instead of cutting out 2 yards and at the end of the day, you will have a lot of wastage. The next thing we are going to do now is to separate it so that we'll have 2 pieces, the front and the back part, okay? So I'm going to cut this side. So now we'll have 2 pieces, okay? So I'm going to fold the material. I'll fold this one into 2, and I'll fold this one into 2 again. So I'll be cutting the 2 of them together. It is not compulsory. If you want, don't cut together. But to save time, I'm going to cut it together. I'll be minusing 2 inches for zip allowance, like so. So this is my zip allowance. I cut out the material equally, okay? The front and the back is equal. So by the time I remove the zip allowance for the back side, if you come to this side, the front side will be more than the back side. Okay, so when I add all my allowances, this one will not be too affected. Okay, so because the back side is shorter now than the front side because of the zip allowance. Okay, if that makes sense. Okay, but notwithstanding, after cutting it, I'm still going to trim out the allowances that will remain for the back. You will see how I'm going to trim out the allowances from the back side as well. Okay, so I'm going to be adding my vertical measurements, which are measurements from shoulder to bust point, shoulder to under bust, shoulder to waist, and shoulder to hip. Okay, these are my vertical measurements. So I'm going to minus 4 inches here. Okay, so if you want to minus 5 inches, you can minus 5 inches or even 6 inches. It all depends on you when you are making your off shoulder. But whatever thing you want to minus, whether 5 inches or 6 inches or even 4 inches, please minus that before you cut out. Okay, before you cut out the material to work with, so that it will not affect the full length. Okay, my bust point is 10 and I'll mark it. This is 10 inches. Under bust 13. My waist measurement from shoulder to waist is 19 inches. Then I'll mark. Then from shoulder to my hip is 27. Then I'll mark. Okay, so I'm going to, and then down to the hemline, I'm going to rule out the lines. Next, I'm going to measure my neck width. The neck width I'm working with is 5 inches. Okay, so I'm going to measure my neck width like so from here. Neck width 5 inches, then I'll mark. That is the wideness of the neck. It can be 4. You can decide to make it 4 inches, 4.5, even up to 6 inches. It all depends on you. Okay, so it depends on how wide you want your neck to be. Okay, then the neck depth, remember I have to remove 4 inches. Then I'll measure my neck depth. My neck depth here is going to be 6.5. Okay, I'm going to make a sweetheart neckline. So at this 6.5, I'm going to connect it to the neck width like this. It's a curve like this. This is the sweetheart neckline. Okay, so at this side, I'm going to measure my armhole depth. I'm going to make use of armhole depth of 8 inches. Then I'll mark. Okay, so from this armhole depth, I'm going to connect it to the neckline with a curve. Okay, a very slight curve. Like so. So next, I'm going to measure my princess dart. I'm going to use the bust point. At the bust point, I'm going to measure my bust pan. That is the distance from one bust to the other, or you can call it nipple to nipple. So I'm going to measure my bust pan. My bust pan is 7. 7 divided by 2, 3.5, plus ½ inch sewing allowance, making it 4 inch. So I'm going to measure my 4 inches like so and mark on the bust point. So this is my 4 inches. Okay, So coming to the under bust line, I'm going to remove 1/2 inch from the bust point, making it 3.5. Then I'll mark. Okay? So I'm going to measure the 3.5 all the way down. To the hemline. So I will connect the lines. So the next thing I'm going to do is to come to the armhole line. I'll come to this armhole line. I'll measure 2.5 inches here. Okay, let me place it like this. At the armhole line, I'll measure 2.5 inches like this. Then I'll mark. So I'll connect this line to meet this one here. Okay. Yeah, so this line is our princess line. So the next thing we are going to do is to create the princess cup. Okay, so to create the princess cup, I'll come to my under bust. This is my under bust line. Then I'm going to measure here 2 inches. Okay, for big size, make use of 2.5, and for small size, you can make use of 1.5. Okay, small size is from bust measurement of 32 to 35. You can make use of 1.5 inches here. Okay, then the medium size bust is from 36 inches to 42 inches. Then you can make use of 2 inches here at the under bust line. Whereas the big size is from 43 inches upwards. You can make use of 2.5 inches for the big size, or even 3 inches, depending on how busty your client is or your customer is. Okay, so at this point I'm going to measure 2 inches and then mark. Okay, at the under bust line. So after I measure 2 inches at the under bust, then I'm going to come to the armhole line, this line, and I will measure 1.5. Okay, so here at this point, whatever you have here at the under bust, please remove 1/2 inch and measure it at the armhole line. Okay, as you can see, we have 2 inches here. Then I'm going to mark 1.5 inches at the armhole line. Okay, assuming we have 2.5 inches here, I'm going to make use of 2 inches at this point. Okay, so if you have 1.5 inches here, please make use of 1 inch here. All right, so this is how it works. So this is 1.5, and then this is 2. I'm going to come here. In order to create a very smooth curve, I'll come to the bust point, and then from the bust point, I'll go up by 1 inch. Okay, and then come down by 1 inch again. Okay, so from here I'll connect it to this, and then connect this. Okay, then from here I'll connect it to this 1 inch upwards. Okay, so we have our curve. So at this point, from these 2 inches, I'm going to take these 2 inches all the way down to the hemline. Okay, so now we are going to add our horizontal measurements. Okay, so my bust circumference is 40. My round bust measurement is 40. Okay, 40 divided by 4 will give me 10. So I'm going to measure. Remember, we are measuring from this place, okay? I'm going to measure 10 inches and mark. Okay, so at this point I'm going to add my allowance. Okay, so adding my allowance, I'm going to consider this. Okay, so I have here 1.5 inches here. I'll be adding it to this place with 2 inches sewing allowance. Okay, so what I'll mark here is 3.5 as my allowance. So I'll mark 3.5. Okay, so I'll take it to the armhole. Take it to the armhole like so. So coming to the underbust, my underbust circumference or my underbust round is 34. 34 divided by 4 will give me 8.5. So I'm going to measure my 8.5 here. Okay, so I'm going to add 2 inches sewing allowance plus this 2 inches at the underbust measurement, making it 4 inches. So I'll add 4 inches allowance here. Okay, so coming to the waist, my waist measurement is 38. 38 divided by 4 will give me 9.5. So I'll measure my 9.5 inches here plus 4 inches allowance. That's 2 plus 2, 4. Okay, so coming to the hip line, my hip measurement is 43. 43 divided by 4 will give me 10.75. Then I'll mark. This is 10.75 here plus 4 inches allowance. That is these 2 inches here plus extra 2 inches sewing allowance, making it 4 inches. Then I'll mark. Okay, so at the down part, this hemline, I'm going to minus 1 inch from whatever I have as my hip measurement. Okay, I'm going to measure here. This is my hip measurement. Here I have 14.5. So at the hemline, I'm going to minus 1 inch from this measurement. Okay, because I don't want it too fitted. So here I'm going to 14.5 minus 1 is going to be 13.5. So here I'm going to measure 13.5 and mark. So I'll connect the lines. Okay. So before I cut it out, I'm going to add my back neckline. Okay, so I'm not going to make use of the same neckline for the front and back. I'm going to make use of round neck at the back side and then the front sweetheart. Okay, and it's not going to be the same neck depth. So I'll add my back neckline. Okay, so -4. I'll be making use of 8 inches neck depth. 8 inches neck depth, and then the same neck width, the same 5 inches neck width here. So what I'll do is to place my hand and then mark it for the back side. So yeah. Okay, so I'm going to draw my round neck. This is my back neckline, round neck, and then this is my front neckline, sweetheart. Okay, so I'm going to cut it out now. I'm going to open the zip. I'll remove the front side to cut the breast cut because the back does not have breast. Okay, so I'm going to shift it like so and cut. So when I close it, yeah, this is what I'll have. We're going to close it in such a way that the lines is going to align. Okay, this is under bust, waist and hip. Okay, so when I close it and when I shift it and close this opening, then the allowance, we are going to trim out the allowance from the back side. Okay, so I'm going to cut this allowance here for the back side. Okay, so I'll cut it out now. Yeah, so if you do it this way, you won't have excess allowance at the back. Okay, so to create that at the back side, I'm going to try and mark this line on the back side. Okay, so this is the waistline. I'm going to mark it to the back, and then this is my under bust. I'll mark it on the back side, and then this one is my hip line, so I'm going to mark it. Okay, then I'm going to remove the front. For us to create that here for the back side, okay, I will come to the waistline. This is my waistline. I'm going to measure ½ inch at this side on the waistline, ½ inch on this side, and ½ inch on this other side. Okay, so ½ inch here, ½ inch here, making it 1 inch. Okay, so I'll connect this to the bust line like so, and then here I'll connect it to the bust line at this point. The essence of creating this dart is to create space for the hip and then allow the zip to balance very well. So yeah, I've created my dart. So that is for the back side. But if you don't want this line, the princess line at the back side, then you don't need to cut it together with the front. Okay, so it's as simple as that. Yeah. The next thing I'm going to do is to cut the sleeve. So I'll be making use of 1 yard of satin for the sleeve, the balloon sleeve, double balloon sleeve. Okay, my sleeve length is going to be 16, so I will minus 4 inches for the band here. Okay, if I minus 4 from 16, then I'll have 12. Because the sleeve is balloon, I'm not going to cut out 12 inches. I'm going to make use of 21 inches. Okay, if that makes sense. And then this is here, the wideness of the balloon is going to be 36 inches. That is 1 yard. Okay, so we have 1 yard here, and then the length we have 21. Okay, I'm going to cut it out. So I'm going to open this side. So this is the two sleeves now. So I'll fold it like this. I'll fold it equal like this. Okay. I'm going to come here and create my armhole here. So I'll just come in by at this point that is open. Okay, this open side. I'm going to measure 3 inches and then I'll mark. Then here I'm going to measure 5 inches and mark. Okay, so I'm going to connect it like this. So this is for the armhole. Then I'll cut it out. This is going to be double balloon. So for the first balloon, I'm going to measure here 11 inches. Okay, 11 inches, because I don't want it at the center. The center is 10.5. I just added extra ½ inch. Okay, so 11 inches here. I'm going to draw the line for the two sleeves. I'm going to show you how I'll sew the sleeve. Okay, so we are going to cut out the band for the sleeve. Okay, so I have here the band length is going to be 4 inches. I'll cut one and then use it to trace the second one. So here I'm going to attach this place to the balloon. Okay, the measurement at this side and the measurement at this side is not the same. Okay, so here I have 11 inches. So 11 divided by 2 will give me 5.5. Then I'll mark. I'll add 1.5 inch sewing allowance. Okay, so here I have 10 inches. 10 divided by 2 is 5, plus 1.5 inch sewing allowance. Okay, so this is what I have as the band. So I'll cut. So I'm going to use this one to cut the second band. So I'll cut it like so. So the next thing is for me to cut the lining. I'll be using cotton lining for this. Okay, you are free to make use of any lining of your choice. Okay, so what I will do is simply use this as a template to cut the line out. So I've just finished cutting the lining. Okay, so what I'll do is to come to the hemline of the lining. You know, I added 2 inches sewing allowance. So I'm going to come to the hemline and minus 3 inches. Okay, so I'm going to minus 3 inches on the hemline for all of them, both front and back. So I'll cut it. So guys, after cutting the lining, I went ahead to attach my paper gum stay. Okay, so this is the front and then this one is the back. Okay, so this is the front part of the clothes. I didn't attach paper gum because the material is very thick. Okay, so I went ahead and cut my wording for breast cuts. So I went ahead and attached this wording on the clothes with a pressing iron. Okay, so yeah, the wideness of this is 6.5. okay, so look at the center front, 1 inch below the under bust. Okay, that's how I cut it. Okay, so this is soft wording, so you can decide to make use of any one you have. I'm going to start with the back side. Okay, so this is the center back. I'm going to go over to the machine and I'll stitch like this. I'll stitch from down to the upper side. Okay, so I'll join the material separate and then I'll join the lining separate. So let me go ahead and join it. So guys, I've just finished sewing the back part. Okay, look at it, and I've given it a good press. We are going to use the lining to turn the material itself. So for you to sew it, you're going to bring the lining down like this and then sew. After sewing it, then you take it up again, and then this is what you have. When you take it up, you have something like this. Okay, and then I'm going to sew the zip side and the sides. Then I will turn it. After sewing it, I'm going to turn it from the armhole side. Okay, so this is the front side. I'll go over to the machine and then I'll show you how to join it. Okay, so this is the front side. I'll place it like so. I'm going to start the sewing from here, from the down side to the upper side. Okay, I'm through with sewing the front side. Okay, so look at it, as you can see, and I've sewn the lining as well. Okay, this is the lining. So I'll go ahead and sew the lining with the material. Okay, so I will sew the neckline like so, and then I'll turn the down part. Okay, so guys, I've just finished sewing the front and the back. This is the front side. Okay, so this is the down part of it. Okay, and this is the inside. So this is the back side. So I'll go ahead and join the front and the back together. I'm going to shape it now. Okay. Then we are going to proceed to attaching the sleeve. All right. I'm going to fold it like this. Okay. I'll sew it at 0.5 inch. I will sew along this marking. Okay. I'm going to sew loose stitches here for gathers. I'm going to gather this side and gather this down side. Okay. After gathering this side, I have 9 inches here. Okay. 8 inches plus 1 inch sewing allowance. Okay. You know we minus 4 while we are cutting the off shoulder. Okay. So the 4 that we minus is what we are going to replace with the sleeve. Okay, so that is 8 inches. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So this is 9 inches, 8 inches and 1 inch sewing allowance. I'm going to make use of these pieces of material to turn this place. Okay, so I'm going to place it like this and I'll sew. Okay. At this side, my round sleeve here is 11 inches plus 1 inch sewing allowance. Okay, so I'm going to attach my band now. Okay, so I'm going to place this one like this and then sew. Place this one like so. I'll place it like this. And then I'll sew. Okay. So next I'm going to pass elastic inside this place. Okay, my round sleeve is 12 inches, so I minus 1 from the 12 inches to cut out this. So this one is 11 inches while my round sleeve is 12 inches. Okay, so I'm going to use my safety pin to put the elastic. So finished putting my elastic, this is how the sleeve looks like. Okay, so I'm going to sew it like this. So here is 5 inches, and this place is 5.5. So after sewing the sleeve, the double balloon sleeve, look at how it looks. Okay, very beautiful. Okay, so I'll go ahead and fix it on our gown. Okay, so guys, I've just finished attaching the sleeve. Please, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time, for now, it is bye bye.